I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a woman, I put away the childish things. Timid. In an environment of forced silence. Not by violence, but stifled by the one who led me. No options laid out, no multiple choice. So I pressed mute on the nearest remote to shut off my own voice. Sequestered like an unopened gift sitting inside a box with locks, purposely unsecured but left hanging. Perched inside, banging on the walls, dying to be free, crying to be me, trying my best to see, but in the dark everything is black. And often I was too afraid to scream, so there in silence I remained, quietly maintained, and the box became my safety, my own personal den. But I needed some kind of release, so I found paper and then a pen and began to scream into the pages, pouring out my heart. For years, many stages of life carved this longest path to 21 days of consecration.
You are now tuned in to Everyday People Radio on Intellectual Radio and iHeart Radio station with your host, April Deshawn. I'm joined with guests Amy Jarrett and Jarrell Jarrett. We're going to get to talk to them. You guys going to learn about them and their life and love, their newlyweds. So this is going to be an exciting show. I'm so happy that you're here and you allowed us into your homes and into your space. We greatly appreciate you. You can give us a call here at the station. The number is 708-223-8953. Again, that number is 708-223-8953. Stay tuned, you guys. Be ready to be blessed. You're going to be blessed and amazed. Your blessing today is Isaiah 53:5. It states, "He was wounded for our transgressions. He was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him. With his stripes we are healed." Chastisement is a stern and verbal command. The Latin root word of chaste is castigor, which means to set, keep right, or to make pure. So that means he basically made a command and a decree for our peace. He demanded that we have our peace. His tremendous sacrifice was for a purpose. He had to go through something to get to something, and it wasn't easy. He had to go through something to reach a goal, to fulfill his mission and complete his destiny and purpose. That wasn't easy. What are my points? Aside from the obvious, my points are we all go through difficulties in life at some point or another, through one situation or another. We all need someone to lean on or to be there for us at some point. So please don't be so quick to judge your fellow human, because you never know when you might need someone. So show compassion for one another. Sometimes someone may just need someone to listen or care about them. Not necessarily to give your opinion or tell them what they should do, but just to be a friend. The sacrifice that was given by our Savior, Jesus Christ, was the ultimate sacrifice. There could be no greater comfort, friend, or father. And that's from Isaiah 53:5. That's your blessing for the day.
Amen.
More to come. To come. The song that you guys just enjoyed was by Black Butterfly, and that's on her CD. It's available on CD Baby, iTunes, Amazon, and Spotify. It's called The Birth. We're going to take one more small break. And you guys, I want you just to enjoy the art.
One, two, three. Good race about to crush and breathe. And if you want to share the stage with us, then you need to step your game up. What's up? 1, 2, 3. Hip hop mixed with poetry. And if you ever want your game this tight, take your time and write your rhymes right. What's up?
My vernacular splash, and I spit a spectacular fashion. Got a style to make these cats sit back and imagine, and leave the crowds all gasping, styled and blasting. Put it simply, simply hood raised. I'm happy to crack it, but on the real, let me show you this blue what you facing. Will never lose, so your breath and your vocals you wasted. I place a cipher, cause my lyrics is laced with a heater. Call me the champ, cause I stay putting the mic in the sleeper. And I'm the reaper with saliva that's lethal and teacher. I keep a fever, so the flow is like shots of tequila. Twisting your mind, it's the hood with the slickest designs. Stick with the lines, but I speak with my fist like a mime. You might can rhyme, but you know that I'm wicked with mine. The styles are fine, and it hurts like a kick to the spine. So get it on me, it takes a tsunami to kill me. I'm like a stripper, I get paid for these niggas to feel me.
1, 2, 3, Hood Raised about to crush and breathe. And if you wanna share the stage with us, then you need to step your game up. What's up? 1, 2, 3, hip hop mixed with poetry. And if you ever want your game this high, take your time and write your rhymes right. What's up?
I'm the word Hercules, dissect to rearrange words purposely with a PhD in word surgery. Disperse them verbally, perfectly, and speak with the heat of mercury so the burn will be worse than 3rd degrees. I speak with an urgency, like a rhyme emergency, with a style unearthly, but it certainly works for me. So who could hurt you worse than me? I stay on point like a curse to be. The trap for you worse than a herd of bees. I heard of absurdities, stay heavy my verse to beat, but the only way I lose if I wrote the words you speak. My record is 3,333 and 3, and the 3 losses came from the senseis that was training me. Yep.
1, 2, 3, Hood Raised about to crush and breathe. And if you wanna share the stage with us, then you need to step your game up. What's up? 1, 2, 3, hip hop mixed with poetry. And if you ever want your game this high, take your time and write your rhymes right. What's up?
Whenever my brain is loose, I'm known to blaze a booth. When I spit it, see the devil just sounded like a spray of truth. So this is the game of sleuths. Nobody slick as me. Wordplay AIDS affected. Ain't nobody sick as me. Get lighted in the center and these cats is next to me. Your ball is all been blocked cause I'm the dude that's sticking deep. I know I sound cocky, but trust I'm being honest. You should be up in the center of bull like Ben Wallace and Eddie Curry. What you spit, I'll never worry, cause your style both gay and funny like Eddie Murphy, a Johnny Gill. But you say that your honor's real. By comparison, I'm more like a Benz, you a Bonneville. The track damager, equipped with complete stamina. I'm posted in your hood on your block like police cameras. Times are sick and the game's beyond shady. The boys here delivering the pill like Tom Brady. So please believe me, I leave these cats bleed easily. Say you want a shot at the title? Come see me. I can show you how to rap niggas. I can show you how to rap niggas. I can show you how to rap niggas. 1, 2, 3.
Welcome back. You are tuned in to Everyday People Radio Show with your host, April Deshawn, on Intellectual Radio and iHeart Radio Station. I am joined by my beautiful and wonderful guests, Amy and Jarrell Jarrett. The song you guys just heard is by an artist called Hood Raised, and his CD is called Jotted Gems. It is amazing. You guys check it out. You can look him up on Facebook as well and YouTube. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get into this interview. I'm so glad that you guys made it. I appreciate you so much for spending your time with me. I'm going to start with Jarrell and put you on the spot. Tell us a little bit about where you were born and where you grew up.
I was born in Michigan City, Indiana. Okay. And I was raised in several states. Pine Bluff, Arkansas, Dallas, Texas, what else? Seattle, Washington. So I had a Jamaican father, so he was a carpenter, and so I was in various places, and I grasped various cultures and different dialects, how people speak, and it was, at the time, it was frustrating, but later I realized it was an advantage. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I lived in so many places. I can claim Michigan City as my birthplace, but I lived in so many places. So. Okay.
So when you were younger, did you have an accent?
Yeah, people made fun of me. I pick up a lot of Jamaican accents. My father was Jamaican. My stepdad actually the one that raised me. Okay. But I consider him my father. And I picked up a lot of dialects from him, his family, and it was just weird. I had a little brother that's Puerto Rican too. He's from the islands too. So I was surrounded by West Indies culture. So it was different.
Oh, sounds beautiful to me. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about your parents and your siblings.
Well, I got a twin brother named Durrell. I got a little brother named Emmett. And these are my natural siblings. And I got Azay and Aminos, my two little sisters, and think the world of them. And then I got a stepbrother, Eric Adams, and I got another stepbrother. I didn't really formally meet him, but he's their brother.
Okay.
And I think his name is Benjamin too. And my natural siblings on my father's side is Donnell McCants, Carmen McCants, and so.
Okay, it's a lot of you. So how many in all? Like all those names?
Oh, man.
Like 8 kids?
Ooh, yeah, pretty much. But that's cool with that because you always have somebody that has your back,
Yes.
So, and then you had issues or something you want to talk about, you always have someone. So I was never really alone. So that was kind of the plus on my side. And that's kind of always kept me in good spirits. I was always a happy child, I think. So that was cool. Oh.
Yeah. So that's awesome. Amy, your turn. Same question. Tell us about where you grew up and where you were born.
All right. I was born in Muncie, Indiana, and I've lived in Florida, North Carolina, and Michigan City, Indiana, as well as Muncie, Indiana. We had the tendency to move every year or every couple years. So that's one thing that we have in common is moving a lot. I have had one natural brother who was born to my mom and dad, but he died at the age of 15. So I've always been raised as a single child, an only child. And then when I was 15, my mom remarried, and then I acquired a stepbrother and a stepsister who are both significantly younger than I. So there was still a little bit of only child syndrome going on there, even though we were still, all three of us were in the house together. But we did move a lot and moved kind of in and out of Michigan City, Indiana. So even though I'm not from Michigan City, I kind of claim to be from Michigan City because I've just lived there so long.
Is that where you guys live now? Do you live in Indiana?
No,
yeah, we live in Indiana.
Okay.
Yeah, but we live in Portage now.
Okay.
So,
which is 25 minutes west of Michigan City.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, guys. Now, you are Amy. You are a former member of POET, P-O-E-T, People of Extraordinary Talent, but you're a current member of Team at Ease.
Salute.
And they're out there listening.
Yeah.
They're awesome. They're awesome poetry organization. How do the two organizations differ, in your opinion?
Oh, I think POET is kind of, at least for me, it was very come in and learn what spoken word is, learn what it's going to do for you as an artist. Whereas my experience with At Ease is you are already an artist. Now, how do we further develop you? It may differ for different people as they step into the poetry scene at different times, but that's how it served me. At the time that I joined POET, I was brand new and I came in like a sponge, like show me something, teach me something, show me who I want to be or maybe don't want to be. And then from there, I took a lot of that into At Ease, knowing more who I am, who I was, and again, who I didn't want to be. And that is being more refined into the artist that I hope to be.
Yes. And you have had some awesome leaders. I know Black Ice is amazing, and Hood Raised, aka Ollie Woods, is absolutely an amazing leader as well. So you've had a wonderful experience coming into poetry. So that's great. I applaud you with that. That being said, do you have a piece that you'd like to share with us today?
Sure.
Can you tell us the name of it?
I don't really know that it has a name.
Okay.
So you tell me the name when I'm done.
Okay.
When I write, I'm like, I tend to call it either how it starts or it ends. So
okay.
I don't know. I can still smell you in my hands, though I've washed you from my heart. I can taste you on my lips, though I've brushed you from my soul. You've gone your way and I mine, yet you linger, ever the more slightly, intensely, waiting for my return. Sin, I hate you. Why you plague me in all my days and all my nights I cannot grasp. For even as I try to walk away, to steal away, you steal away my clean slate. You take hold of my refreshed, rejuvenated spirit and tarnish it with yesteryear's spirits, bringing back to me everything I left behind. Sin, I hate you, yet I long for you. I call to you and repeatedly return to you uselessly. And usually you're there waiting for me with open arms, like you love me, like you missed me, and like you really value me. When in all honesty, you only devalue me. Sin, I hate you, so I'm leaving you. Behind all the lies, amongst all the stolen tries, amidst every misguided and grounded flight, I'm saying goodbye. Good night and farewell, sin. I'm on a new journey now, one that's lit by the Father and the Son, one that moves from glory to glory and faith to faith. And that's a trip you can't take, sin. So goodbye. I'm leaving you behind.
Woo! Hands clap, y'all. Throw up those hearts out there. Throw up those thumbs up.
Beautiful.
That was beautiful. And that was the
That was
amazing Amy Jarrett. I'm sorry. I'm gonna get a whooping saying his name right. I almost got beat up earlier. I just want y'all to know that. So that was beautiful and amazing.
Yeah.
So the title I would give that is
Wow, that is so.
yeah. The title I would give that is Goodbye,
Yeah, goodbye.
Pain. No, I would say
Sing.
Pain Out.
Glory in.
It was something else. Pain Out, Peace In.
Okay.
I'll say Peace In.
I like that. I like
That's
that.
what I would call it.
Yeah.
Good deal.
So
Just push back.
let's see. For your actual civilian work.
Oh,
Let's click this out.
yeah.
Yeah. Technology is not our friend today,
No,
people.
I think it's still on.
Okay.
We just don't know. We just can't see you on there.
Okay.
We see you there.
I will share it with you guys. Amy, for your civilian work, you work for your supervisor for Indiana Disability Rights. Can you tell us what made you make that career choice?
When I was in college, I wanted to be a probation officer. And I did a practicum as a probation officer, and I realized I'm not really as tough and mean as maybe a probation officer needed to be. So I kind of revamped my education and looked at a softer career in social services and got a job as a job coach for people with disabilities. And at that point, I realized that people with disabilities needed someone and that I actually liked that population. So from there, I used my degree and managed group homes for adults with disabilities. And now the agency that I work for, we investigate civil rights violations against people with disabilities.
Okay, wow. What are some of your toughest duties as an advocate for people with disabilities?
Now I am more in a supervisory role, so I don't do as much investigating and advocating. But for 11 years, I was in the position where I went out and investigated. So we would look at allegations of abuse and neglect, financial exploitation, and you would see cases of people with severe mental illness or severe intellectual disabilities where they were severely mistreated, or they believed that they were being mistreated, whether it happened or not. It was their reality. And so addressing that and trying to find out the truth of what maybe a staff member did or did not do on that affected them negatively or hurtful. And it takes a toll on you to see the scars, the cuts, the bruises, the going without, the neglect. So just dealing with that on an everyday basis can be tough.
I'm sure. Do you deal with adults as well as children, or do you just deal with one age group?
We do as any age group, more the focus of if you have any form of disability that is affecting a substantial part of your life or 3 areas in your life, then we'll address that. We go into prisons, schools, doctors' offices, the public, any facet of life.
Okay. So when you were a field rep as well, you also dealt with all age groups, all facets of disability people.
Yes.
Okay.
And now more so that because I'm a supervisor, I don't have as much client contact, but I have kind of the secondary contact to where my staff has the traumatic experience, and then I have to kind of help them dealing with it every day.
Okay. So you deal with both ends, not only your clients, but also your staff members.
Yeah.
You have to, and is there someone there for you as a support system if you need someone to assist you?
Yeah, I would say because I work for an agency, there's only 30 of us. All of us are very close that if any of us need to call on anyone else, and we have a legal team that also addresses from the legal aspect. And sometimes knowing that it took another step legalistically helps us deal with that as well.
Okay. Awesome.
That's cool.
Thank you. That's awesome. That's excellent work. Good stuff.
Yeah.
See, I told you we're everyday people.
Absolutely.
That's true.
And Gerald, what do you do for a living? Jarrell, what do you do for a living? I'm sorry, I have a cousin.
I'm a steel worker.
Yeah.
20 years at U.S. Steel. Started off in '97 near the ore docks. I had a firsthand knowledge seeing how steel forms and how it starts. It took me for a surprise because I didn't think that we can dig it from the earth, iron ore, mixed with different chemicals just to make something we see every day as far as cars, washing machine and dryers. I never knew it took that extent to you needed all these chemicals and all the staff to make this happen. So yeah, I've been there for a while. Now I'm on the finishing end, which is, I'm probably a rarity because very few people such as myself seen from the beginning to the end how steel is made and processed. So yeah, I like it. It's a lot of fun.
He works with fire every day.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Well, at work and when he gets home. Oh, sorry.
That's true. Right? That is true.
I'm not sure how to take that.
Yes. So you guys both have excellent careers and important positions in the world. You with the with steel manufacturing, industrial things, and you, of course, with the public and people. It's beautiful. Let's see. Besides the obvious inside-out beauty of Amy and her spirit, what sent you head over loafers, since you don't wear heels, for her?
Wow. You know.
No, I coached you on this.
You know, I don't know if I hope the Lord don't be mad at me. But anyway, I was attending my aunt's funeral, and during the service, I saw Amy on the wall. She was like a member of this church, who I later became a member of, and I said, "Wow, that is one beautiful woman over there." It wasn't an appropriate time to be saying it, but like my cousins and my twin brother was like, "Well, you know, talk to her afterwards." And like a man, I got scared and didn't say anything for a while. And so after a while, I just started liking everything on her Facebook page.
Everything.
So finally, she made an approach to me, and I mean, I couldn't resist. I was like, "Hey, if you ever in Portage, you know, maybe we can hook up." She was like, "Well, I'm in Portage." I think it was later that week. I was like, "Wow!" And I had a chance to really to take it all in, to come up with an excuse to whether be good or bad. I didn't know what to say, but I felt in my spirit that I wanted to meet her because I knew that it was going to be a beautiful journey, a beautiful reunion. And I'm glad I made that choice because I'm happy every day, ecstatic.
Yes.
That I made her.
Look at her.
Yeah.
Blushing.
That was cool.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask you about attending the same church, but you said that you met her actually in the church where she attended, and you guys ended up going to the same church.
Right.
Okay, so that wasn't any type of issue. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a nickname?
Do I got any? What?
A nickname.
They call me Red.
Okay.
I don't know. Is when I So when I was a kid, I had like a reddish type hair. My tin and my complexion was like that. My brother was a little bit dark skinned than me. He took over my mom, beautiful complexion. But I took more of my father's side, and in the South, that's what they call like reddish tint people, red or red bone, or so I got that. The name was embarrassing to me. I mean, I like the name Jarrell better, especially when I'm adult. But they were always called Darrell and called me Red, and I'm like, especially in school.
Like,
so
I have a name too, you know.
yeah, no. But then it went from a nickname to a name that they were comfortable with. So I didn't take offense to it anymore. So when they call me that, I know it's family because it's history behind it. They know me for a long time. So only a selected few can know to call me that because they knew me from childhood.
Until now.
Well, true.
Well, note that most of the time when I ask a question, sometimes I already know the answer, so I already knew you had a nickname. Yeah. So if you didn't tell us, I was going to bust you out.
Set up from the start.
Yes. Just so you know.
Okay.
Walk us through your first date with Amy.
Wow. We was going to it was a Portage ministry, and we was trying to figure out what time we can use to eat up before we go to church. And I think we I don't know if we both agreed or I came up with it or Amy. I'm not really sure, but it was Starbucks. And
shameless plug.
Uh-huh.
Shameless plug.
So we go to Starbucks, and when she pulls up, and it seems to me that she was hesitant or reluctant of getting out the car because I know I was. And she finally gets out, and I was like, wow, she's here. And so I think we hugged, and we walked into the Starbucks, and we sat down at the table, and I couldn't stop from looking at her in the eyes. I love her green eyes. It's beautiful. And we just, it was, you can really know you're really gonna love someone or have a deep passion for someone when you guys can enjoy the silent before the talk. Some people have conversation just trying to merit or mute the silence, and me and Amy didn't do that, and we don't do it now. We enjoy the silence, and then when we talk, it's relevant.
Yes.
It's conversation worthy. So that's one thing I love about her. And we just really was just talking about Christ. We talked about our families. We talked about different facets of love and church. And I love that because she brought me back to what I was taught. I kind of got away from it. It was just work, home. And that was good to show a different part of life again. So no, I was blushing all the way home to the church too. So,
awesome.
That was fun.
And Amy, did you know that he was so shy about meeting you and taking you on a date and everything?
No, not at all, because he was so like quietly confident. We talked. We had never spoken in person when we went on our first date. Yeah. We had texted continuously and Facebook messaged, but we had never spoken to each other. So we saw each other at the funeral, but then we never saw each other like socially until that day. But from the very first conversation, he was so confident, like, you're going to be my wife, and I want to marry you, and you're this and you're that. And I'm like, wait, what? So no.
Like, dude.
Yeah.
I didn't get the memo.
She was mine.
And so when we pulled up and I got out of the car, like, I was actually afraid to talk because I hadn't spoken to him. And I thought, what if I don't have a good voice, or what if he doesn't like my voice or something? So we were already all the way into Starbucks before I even spoke. Like, we hugged and I was silent. Do you remember that? I didn't say anything because I was so nervous. But no, I remember he when we were walking in, he put his hand like on the small of my back to gently, guide you inside, just so comfortable from the very beginning. So I had no idea he was nervous. Never.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
That's
Until
beautiful.
today.
Terrified.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Jarrell, I really love when you said about enjoying the silence with each other. I think that that's so important. That's like the most beautiful thing to me,
Thanks.
with someone to just be able to just enjoy the silence, just be quiet and don't feel like it's awkward.
Right.
You know, it's not an awkward thing. It's just you just enjoying the moment and enjoying each other's company. So that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that.
Thank you.
Now, kind of a spicy question.
Okay.
Have you ever, Amy, first, have you ever dated outside of your race before Jarrell?
Yes.
You had, okay.
Mhm.
And then how did your families receive him when you decided that you guys were going to get married?
They loved Jarrell from the very beginning. From the very first time they met him, my grandmother, my grandfather, everybody just literally and figuratively embraced him and welcomed him into the family, to the point that when we did get engaged, we told my mom, and then a couple of days later, I went over to visit my grandparents, and my mom was there, and my mom said, Amy has something to tell you. And my grandmother goes, when are you getting married? So Gigi knew immediately, really like upon meeting him, because she later said, when I said, well, Gigi, how did you know? And she brought back a conversation from the very first day that we went over to visit about, he was speaking about someone else who had gotten engaged. And my grandmother said he just knew, she just read on him that he wanted that and that that's where we were headed.
Nice.
So they literally accepted him and embraced him.
That is beautiful.
From jump.
Yeah, I remember that.
And was it pretty much the same for you from your family?
Yes, it was. It was definitely my sister, my mom, they all just embraced her. And my mom just like, really, I want to meet her. I love her. So you haven't met her yet.
And that's because she saw the love that you have for her.
Right, that's true.
Yes.
That's true. So yeah, my family was the same. It was just everybody just loved our union. And
I knew your two sisters before.
Yeah.
So
she
I knew
known too. Remember on Facebook?
Yeah.
That's my brother.
So did your sisters go to the same church with you, Amy?
No, but just from being in Michigan City, you know, in the church folks crowd, we knew each other or had common friends. And so I knew several of his family and a lot of his friends before I ever met him.
Wow, that's absolutely divine.
Yeah, that's strange because we knew the same type of people, but we never met each other.
It wasn't
I thought that was so strange.
Exactly. It wasn't time.
She knew the same people I knew, friends.
Right.
I thought that was so strange. We just walked past each other like two boats in the lake, just passing each other by. I thought that was so strange.
And then God was like, one day,
yeah,
I keep going that way. You keep going that way. I'm gonna meet y'all. Right. Yeah. That is beautiful. Yeah. And had you dated outside of your race before?
Yes, I have. It wasn't, to me, it's never really about race. It's the individual. It's just what they perceive. It's what they say. I really never look at race. My first wife, what I had my children was she was African-American like me, but that never was an issue. It's what you are,
Yes.
If we can look at each other's spirits, who knows how many people we'd be married to. But yeah, that's race never made an issue with me.
It's not a factor.
No, it's never was a factor.
Beautiful.
It just happened to be another race,
Yes.
So,
yes, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for that.
Yeah.
I was like, do I want to ask this question? Yes. Now, you guys were married January 1st, 2018.
Yes.
And on your honeymoon, Amy released her inner daredevil. Girl, what did you do?
Jumped out of what I say, jumped out of a perfectly good airplane. Why?
Man.
Just because.
That was a good answer, though.
I didn't have a reason.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? It was on Groupon?
That would have been funny.
That would have been perfect. It was we needed to do something.
Yeah.
And why didn't you join her jumping out of the
Because
airplane?
I was rationally sane. That's why. I couldn't do it. But when Amy did that, she was at peace. She enjoyed it. I wanted her to experience that because that's what she wanted. I won't lie to you. I was at the bottom. this heart beating, making sure she was fine. Every people, all the couples that came down, I'm like, is that my wife? Is that my wife? And finally she come down, and she's the only one that's swinging back and forth like this.
Oh, wow.
Like, oh, I bet you that's Amy. And it was her. So, yes, it was a lot of fun just watching her, you know. So I'm not going to say I might do it, but it's leaning that way. We'll see.
I know I'm interested. Can you tell us about the experience you had?
Sure. First of all, I had to get permission. I had to say, can I do this? Are you sure I can do this? And I did have a Groupon. So
yes, you did.
That was where the idea came from. People say, well, it's on my bucket list. It was not on my bucket list. It was kind of impulsive. We were just in Miami, and I really was on Groupon and just found it. But the experience itself was like so moving that even now I have kind of a hard time finding words to put it together to explain how peaceful and blissful that it really was. You know that it's going to be an adrenaline rush. You know that your heart's going to beat, and you're going to feel overjoyed and, exuberant and it's all of that after you land. But in the 7 to 8 minutes where you're coming down, it's like, you just feel like I almost was in tears, just really being so moved and actually feeling the Spirit of God move over you, because you have to trust your physical being to him and know. And then when you go through the clouds and you feel like the wet just coming down on you. And again, there's such a trust there that you're just moving and you have no concern, no feeling. It's just like time stops and freezes, and it's so peaceful. Wow. And then the whole going side to side was I did a tandem jump. So the instructor asked me if I wanted to steer. Well, I steered, and I took a hard right and a hard left. So we're going like this. And at that point I thought, I overturned.
I'm like, no, don't do that.
But then at that point I was like, woo! And it was that was exciting. But the whole thing, it was like literally like the hand of God just bringing you down and just setting you down. And then that's when the adrenaline rush came over me. And it's like, I did it. And I think I kind of like flew in your arms like, oh, I did do it. And he's like, and it's over.
I told the instructor I'm not letting her drive.
At that point he's like, now sit down. And we went to the gas station. I'm like, I don't need an energy drink.
No, you don't. Your heart might pop out your chest.
Definitely.
Wow. So tell us about the moment that, like, when you decided to do it. It wasn't the same day, was it?
No, we had to schedule for the next day.
Okay, so how was that night before?
I was afraid that we were going to oversleep.
Okay.
Because we had to get up, I think at like 6.
I couldn't get no sleep. None. I
just want to go jump out of bed.
I was talking to Tyler. I just married her.
She's trying to leave me already.
And we joked about, the life insurance it's good. We got it all
and that really made me nervous when she started talking that. I'm like, oh man, why are we having this conversation? But it was necessary. But I'm glad she was here.
Beautiful.
She got half the people in my job want to do it now.
I want to do it. It's on my bucket list. And I'm afraid of heights. So that's the crazy thing. I'm afraid of heights, but that's something that I do want to do.
But you're so high, you don't even realize that the height. No. I mean, we jumped at 10,000 feet, but it's so far down that it's unreal to look down and think that that's the ground.
Right.
Because you're just so far up.
Right. Now, you mentioned that you had one brother that passed away, and he was 15 at the time. I, too, had a young family member that passed. He was like my brother. He was my uncle. But my grandmother passed early, and he was left with my mom. So he was with me and my mom. And he was like my brother, and he passed around the same time as your brother. Wow. Can you talk to us a little bit about him and what happened?
Sure. My brother committed suicide at the age of 15. He hung himself from a tree. And He lived with my dad and I lived with my mom. So we didn't have much of a real relationship other than a few visitations here and there. But as we do after suicide, I've tried to kind of piece it back together to understand what was going on. And it seems that he was dealing with a lot of the issues of childhood and teens, getting in trouble with the law, running away and stuff like that. And then you always speculate, is there any form of underlying mental illness or anything like that, but not ever knowing what happened. But that was the way that he found his peace. And very, very difficult to accept, very difficult to explain. And some things, you don't ever understand. You do just accept. But I thank God for that experience, because I believe that it's made me a more of an empathic person and have the understanding of embracing others right where they are in their hurt. And some of my family has still never been able to deal with it. And so everybody deals on their own, but I'm more talkative and deal with it. And then his birthday is right before Jarrell's. So when we were on vacation, it was his birthday, but I always take that day off work just to honor the day, either his birthday and or the day that they found him, because they speculate that he didn't die the day that they found him, that he had been dead for like 10 days before they found him. But his body literally hung from a tree before they found him. So, but the struggle is real. And so I think that it kind of has given me a heart for people, especially a heart for teens and their struggle, and just trying to help people deal with the emotions, that roller coaster of life that we all go through.
Do you think that there's a possibility that bullying could have been a factor of what happened with him? Or do you think it was just being a teenager and just having a hard time, maybe feeling like he didn't have anyone to talk to?
I think probably the latter of the two. Our parents were, as I said, divorced, and they divorced at a very young age. So there was a lot of struggle with custody battles and visitations and things. And that, coupled with moving from state to state and just being a teen, it is very, very difficult to deal with the stresses of life as a teen. And some people are better equipped than others. So to me, it's kind of like the boldest yet scaredest thing to think about, that you have the courage to kill yourself because you're scared to live. That's like the weirdest oxymoron that I've ever thought of. But when you think of it that way, it's really even more troublesome. And hopefully it encourages each of us to reach out to help someone else.
Absolutely. Wow. Now, when you see what's going on today with the effect that bullying is having on young kids, and we see a lot of child suicide, how does that affect you and your family, having gone through that type of ordeal?
As I said, each member of our family really deals with it differently, but me being in social services, it touches my heart and kind of really moves me into action. Even as with spoken word, I've written a piece about his ordeal and struggle and things like that. And it's written kind of from my perspective of not knowing what he was dealing with, wondering what were his thoughts at the time. But it kind of moves me to try to do something, and it encourages me to try to help someone else.
Absolutely. Is that a piece that you have prepared that you can share with us?
I have to read it.
Okay. I have it right here.
Oh, wow.
Is that it?
She set me up.
Is that it?
Yeah. Oh, wow. Oh, I might need a tissue after this one.
Really?
I have some.
Yeah, I might. Okay. I've never done this in front of anybody. Oh, wow. She's a really good host.
Yes, she is.
She already knows the answers before you ask the question. All right. As the rope knotted the tree, as the noose looped your neck, as the branch grasped your life and you gasped for air, what did they say? Did they mumble or did they scream? Did they cry out or apologize? As they snuffed out your life, your entire life, were they finally happy? As they stole my brother from me, were they satisfied? As they murdered my mother's son, my father's legacy, did they feel justified? Was there gratification on their tongue since it was all said and done? Had they how they taunted you and mistreated you? Tell me, please. I gotta know. Were your thoughts finally free as you lowered yourself to hang yourself from that tree? The thoughts that overpowered you, that overtook you and convinced you that you didn't need to be. Was it that torment within finally ceased to be? Your inner voice finally squelched the screams, your turmoil put to rest since you chose to take your last breath.
Wow, that's profound. Thank you so much.
Okay, I didn't need the tissue.
Yeah, you did. I want
Healing has occurred.
I want to give you a hug anyway.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think that's gonna help some people. Yeah. So we're gonna get ready to wrap it up.
All right.
How much time do I have? Do I have 5 minutes? No time? I don't have no time. Oh, wow. I have no time. All right. You guys were great.
Thank you.
We're going to go ahead and end the show. We're going to end on Black Butterfly. And again, her music can be found on iTunes, CD Baby, and Spotify and Amazon. You guys look her up, Black Butterfly. Your wings are ready. Enjoy the art.
Timid. In an environment of forced silence, not by violence, but stifled by the one who led me. No options laid out, no multiple choice. So I press mute on the nearest remote to shut off my own voice. Sequestered like an unopened gift sitting inside a box with locks, purposely unsecured but left hanging. Perched inside, banging on the walls, dying to be free, crying to be me, trying my